Okay, hi everybody. Welcome to episode number 310 of our button show. What does this button do? Internet on our cruise ship. What do you think, Chris? It's an educational show about smartphones, travel, and technology with us, Geeks on Tour. Yeah.
Well, we are geeks, also known as propeller heads.
Yeah, we can prove it. It's fun. That's what we do.
But we are geeks who teach, and we are also travelers. So we've been teaching travelers how to make better use of their technology since 2004. And now we live on a cruise ship, so we teach about technology on a cruise ship.
That's fun. So do you think your smartphone is smarter than you? And do you have questions about Androids or iPhones or any of this technology, the cloud, and how to get connected? And very important, well, we can tell you how.
And all of our information is collected on our website at geeksontour.com. But as I said, we live on a cruise ship. We are now in Palau, Micronesia, and it is a gorgeous day out there. What did you do in our last stop in Yap, Jim?
I went diving. It's been a while since I've gotten those fins wet, except, well, we did do a little bit of snorkeling, but I haven't been scuba diving for a while now.
And I hadn't planned to go, but I will be going tomorrow. But meanwhile, you have a little video on your scuba trip in Yap.
It's so nice to just be able to come home to our cruise ship after a day of diving in Micronesia, somewhere I've never been diving before. It's amazing.
And tomorrow we get to go dive in Palau, and we are coming up in Indonesia and the Pacific. We're going to be doing a lot of diving in the months to come.
That's the plan.
Okay. So today's topic is about cruise ship internet. And I wanted to start with a really simple overview. So I asked AI for help. I asked Gemini's storybook feature to create a little something. And just FYI, if you want to get more details on cell phones on the cruise ship, episode 304, we covered that. But meanwhile, let me tell you a story. Meet Odyssey, a happy cruise ship sailing across the big blue ocean. Even when she's far from land, her passengers can connect to the magical internet to share their adventures. Odyssey's secret is her special star catcher, Starlink to be precise, antennas. They reach high into the sky to catch the internet signals and bounce down from the twinkling satellites way up in space. Once the star catchers have the signal, Odyssey spreads it all over the ship like invisible pixie dust. This is the ship's Wi-Fi. It flows through routers and hotspots so everybody on the ship can connect their phones, tablets, and computers. Sometimes Odyssey sails to countries where her star catchers need to take a nap, meaning they don't have the legal rights to use Starlink in that country. Like Taiwan, the satellites don't send signals, so Odyssey has a clever backup plan. For these special places, the crew gives Odyssey's routers a magic data coin, a local SIM card. This coin is full of internet power from the country she's visiting. To the people on board, nothing feels different. They still connect to the ship's Wi-Fi just like before. The switch from star catchers to the magic coin is a secret, seamless trick. When Odyssey arrives in a busy port, everyone has a choice. They can stay connected to Odyssey's magical Wi-Fi while relaxing on the ship, or they can switch their phone's own data service on. This uses internet from the city's tall cell towers, giving them their own personal internet bubble while in port. When you go ashore to explore, Odyssey's Wi-Fi can't follow you. Her magic only works on the ship. You'll need to use your phone's own cellular service to find your way or share photos. So bottom line, it's simple. At sea, the ship's Wi-Fi, powered by Starlink, is your only friend. Ashore, your phone's cellular data is the key. And in port, you can choose whichever one works best. So what do you think? Did that give an overview?
I think that's pretty good.
I thought that gave a pretty good overview, and that was all strictly from, of course, I gave it the prompts of what I wanted it to teach, but it laid it out nice and simple. Now, one of the things it talked about is having the choice of using Wi-Fi or using your phone's cellular data. And so we have two videos, one on iPhone and one on Android, that shows you how to specifically turn those features on and off. Let's start with, I don't care, iPhone. On an iPhone, I'm going to show how to turn on or off either mobile data, cellular, or Wi-Fi, and then do a speed test to see which one is better. You swipe down from the upper right, and the blue with the radio waves is my Wi-Fi signal. The green with the bars is my cell signal. So if I just tap on this whole square, I get more details. I will turn off the Wi-Fi, so I am just using my cellular data, and we'll do a speed test. I just Google for speed test and run speed test. So this is testing the speed of my cellular connection, my mobile data. I am using US Mobile as my cell service provider on this phone. Pretty good. I want you to notice at the top of the screen, you see the 4 bars with 3 of them black. That is showing my signal. And then if I swipe down over on the left side, you see those same signal bars and 5G. And in Chinese characters is actually the service provider here in Taiwan that is providing that service. Now I'm going to turn off the cellular and turn on the Wi-Fi. And I want it to be attached to the ship's main Wi-Fi, which is Odyssey Residence. And I will do another speed test. Pretty good. And notice the icon at the top is just those radio waves, and it says Changhua Telecom Wi-Fi, meaning the Wi-Fi on board the ship is being supplied by the local Changhua Telecom. So that was a case actually where we weren't having Starlink for our Wi-Fi. So just interesting how it worked with the cellular providing the power for the ship's Wi-Fi. And in that case, the cell signal was a lot faster. And unless I was paying for the cell and not paying for the Wi-Fi, I would choose to use the cellular in that particular situation. All right, now let's see how it works with the Android. In order to turn Wi-Fi on or off, or cellular on or off, I'm going to go to my quick settings, swipe down from the top right, and notice that the Wi-Fi is off, the mobile data is on. How do I know which one is mobile data? All I do is grab this little handle and drag down, and the words appear under each little icon, so I can see that this one at the top is mobile data. Tap it, it turns blue, it's on. Tap it again, and you can turn it off. So back to the main screen. So Wi-Fi is off, cellular is on, cellular also known as mobile data, and let me go to do a speed test. I just do a Google search for speed test, and I will be getting the speed of my cellular connection because I am within range of a cell tower that supports my cellular provider. Run speed test. That is pretty good. I want you to notice up in the top bar of my phone, this is an Android phone, a Samsung. Notice the bars, the 4 or 5 bars where 4 of them are filled in, and the 5G. And if I swipe down from the middle on there, you will also see where it says Google Fi. That is my cellular provider. It's working pretty good here because of the speed test. Now I'm going to turn off cellular, that button right there. Turn off mobile data, yes, turn off. And I'm going to turn on Wi-Fi. And if I touch and hold on that, I can not only turn it on, but I can choose the Wi-Fi network. Odyssey Residence is what I usually connect to here. And you can see that we are now connected via Wi-Fi by looking at the top, and you see those radio waves. Okay, and I will do a speed test. So this is testing the speed of the Wi-Fi network that I am connected to. Pretty good. So where I am right now, on our ship with good Wi-Fi and in port where I have cellular, I can choose whichever one I want. They're both good. So I would choose the one that I'm not paying for. And you saw a bit of a wide variety in the speeds there, but anything over 5 or 10 is really pretty good.
Yeah, I agree.
So the fact that one was up to 60 doesn't you don't have to follow that. And isn't it a lot better than it used to be on cruise ships?
Whoa, yeah. And it's a lot less expensive.
First time we went on a cruise ship, I think, we had to pay $10 a day, and we couldn't get anything over than 1 megabit per second.
If it worked at all, yeah.
Yeah. So this is just amazing. Next, we have a conversation on board the ship here with a couple of our friends, Kit and Randy Cassingham, and we just talk about the ship's internet connections. So first question is just tell people, how important is internet to you?
It's critical. I think it's critical not only for my business because I'm working on the ship, but I think it's critical for just day-to-day
Just life,
keeping
right?
up with your life. Yeah. You know, whether it's banking or keeping touch with people that you know that aren't here with us.
Okay, and when you say your work, I know most people probably know, but just say a few words about what is your work.
Everyone knows this is true. I mean, .com. ThisIsTrue.com is my primary. It's a email newsletter that's been running since 1994.
Amazing.
And I also have residentialcruising.com because, I realized this is such a new thing that somebody needs to talk about it. And I decided, let's find somebody that will talk about the truth. And since my trademark is This Is True.
Now, I've been a subscriber to Randy's newsletter, This Is True, for many years. He probably knows how many exactly.
I could look it up, but I haven't. But it's something like 10 or 15.
Yeah, it's been a while, and they are the reason that we are here on this ship.
My business isn't as busy as his.
Yeah.
I kind of put it on the shelf when we started packing the house to move, and it took so long to get settled down. But I think my business is mostly dead, but I'm not sure yet. But I still do things. I have 2 calls a month with the clients I've had since COVID started. A group, I call it a mastermind, but it's just a group call. So it's critical for me just for that monthly touch point with those 2 groups of people.
And you're talking about a Zoom call, right?
A
so
Zoom
video
call,
and
yes, the whole 9 yards. And there are times I have to turn my camera off because there's just not quite enough bandwidth for that to happen.
Now, do you do those in your room or?
I use my room, and
Her desk is in the cabin.
Yeah. Okay.
So my Thursday group is so sensitive to my schedule that they will shift the call a little bit so that I'm not up at 2 and 3 in the morning, which I'm willing to do for them. But Randy's grateful that. So anyway, and the Tuesday group is not quite as flexible because that's 5 and I keep my base of operation in Colorado, so my calls are at 10 in the morning on Thursday and 5 in the evening on Tuesday, 2 weeks later. So it keeps it floppy. So
and wherever that ends up being for you,
yes.
what time?
Yes. But the Tuesday group will say, could we meet Wednesday instead? So, we've
You're
been
flexible, but once it's set, you have a group of people who are depending on that time
yes,
frame, right?
Yes,
So you need the internet to work.
yes, and I need to email them to say, here's the link, remember to come, and
Yeah,
stuff like
yeah.
that. So, but I even email and text you guys, so that's all important.
Right, right. And for us, I mean, we still do have an online business, but it's not like a 24/7 requirement
Right.
that we have internet, but we do need it.
Yeah, we
Anything to add?
use it all. And on board the ship, we use WhatsApp a lot.
So my next question, I say, what's your primary method? And I think I mean Wi-Fi or cellular. So where you're normally doing your work, you actually have an office, right? And
Right.
you're just connected to the ship's Wi-Fi?
Yes, I do have some backup with my phone if critical, and I did buy an eSIM once that worked for like 2 hours before it ran out of data, and I rolled my eyes and moved on. But the Wi-Fi, I think it's critical to say, comes through a Starlink internet connection, and you can pop in a photo that I know you've taken already of the antennas where we get our signal from, and it's basically up there.
When you point up there, you don't mean heaven. You mean Deck 9.
No, I mean in orbit.
Both, yeah.
I mean in orbit. The heavens.
The satellites are in orbit.
Are
Our receivers are on deck 9.
Are on deck 9, yeah.
Yeah.
And do you primarily use the ship's Wi-Fi, the Starlink?
Almost exclusively. I use the cabin Wi-Fi because it's really strong in our cabin from the TV.
Yeah.
The general is pretty weak in my cabin. I have to open the door, which I don't want to do during my business Zoom calls.
Right, right.
So I really appreciate the TV Wi-Fi, which is probably not a technically accurate term, but I'll go with it till somebody gives me a better
the
one.
access
TV
point.
access point.
Yeah,
Okay.
the access point is in the TV, literally.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And we generally have the same experience.
Okay.
Our TV access point works 99% of the time
Really strong signal.
and works well.
But we also get pretty good signal from what's called the residence. Odyssey Residence is another SSID that we can connect to, and we have an access point very close to our
Right
door.
outside our door.
And we don't normally even have to open the door to get a good
No.
signal. So we're lucky.
Mine's right outside the door, and I don't know if it's that we have that recessed doorway. I don't know if there's too much metal in that.
There's a lot of metal.
Confuse things, but
And for
Right.
the viewers, the
Yes.
doors are actually metal also to be
Solid metal.
Doors,
Yeah.
as
walls,
fireproof
ceilings.
as possible. Yeah.
Right.
So especially high frequency like Wi-Fi does not go through metal very well.
And another thing to understand is not all radios, so your computer radio and your phone radio, they're not all created equally. So
Right.
my phone might be better than her phone for
It usually
receiving,
is.
and that's something to understand. And all laptops or desktops, it's all different.
Yep.
And then one of the also main issues, which you said the other day, was how many people are using it.
Yes.
I did a speed test when I woke up in the middle of the night last night,
okay.
and I was stunned that my phone happened to be connected to the Odyssey residence, which is outside our steel door, and I had like 250 megabits per second.
Wow.
I did not know that
There you
was
go.
possible on Starlink, let alone through the metal door. I connected it to our TV hotspot, and I got 30.
Which
Yeah.
is more what you would expect.
Right.
Yeah.
And which is perfectly good.
Yeah.
Okay, so which brings me to the million-dollar question. How good is it? What's been your overall experience? Do you tell people that the internet here is good, or that it's iffy, or...
I say it depends on what you really need to do. If you need to be on Zoom calls all day, you're probably going to have some trouble.
It's inadequate.
If you just checking your email, going through Facebook, and if you hit a glitch, you can come back later. It's fine.
Well, there are
But-
some people who can't be on the ship right now because it's not good enough. and their businesses require they have quality connection.
And that they be connected on a call at certain times for their clients.
Right.
And yeah, so that's a little rough for them.
Well, when we were full-time RVers and we taught about internet on the road,
Sure.
we always taught if you need the internet all the time, you need multiple sources.
Yes.
When this ship is at sea,
You
there
have
is only
source.
one source.
Well, actually, we have two sources. We have Starlink, and we also have what's called a VSAT, very small aperture terminal, which is a pretty low bandwidth, especially if you're sharing it with other people, and we are. But that has saved my bacon a couple of
Really?
times when Starlink was not available, and that was the way I got online.
Yeah, the VSAT uses geosynchronous orbit
Right.
satellites, whereas the Starlink uses low Earth orbit satellites.
Which matters because
When there's latency,
yeah,
because and uploads tend to be faster with Starlink than they ever would be with the VSAT. So that is its consideration, and the whole thing is shared by everyone, including the bridge.
right.
So
And ship operations.
ship operations
Yeah.
needs the internet as well. So it's interesting the way that's all set up, and it amazes me that it works so well.
Right.
And it's improving all the time. That's what I've found.
Yes.
And that's partly because they keep sending up more and more and more satellites for Starlink.
Right. They just put up another 24 yesterday, I
Oh, did
believe.
they?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so that's only going to get better. And the newer satellites, I saw a picture of the new satellites that go up. They're much larger, and they're set up to handle cellular. So phone to satellite data is coming, and it's coming pretty rapidly. It'll be another year or two before it's widely available.
Which
But
will
it's-
be great when we're ashore and we really want to be able to send a message, or especially receive a message. Hey,
Yeah.
there's something wrong. You need to get back to the ship right now.
Right.
But if a country, as we will be seeing soon, has not permitted Starlink connection, then we're
Yeah, we ran
SOL.
into that issue just
Well,
in
that-
Taiwan,
Yes.
where Taiwan, the government, has made no contract with Starlink, and they don't allow it there, and that has a lot to do with politics.
Right.
But it's not available. So we needed something. The ship has put in some cellular failover processes so that they can put a SIM card in and share that from a terrestrial cell tower or towers on shore.
And what are they putting that into?
A
Pepwave?
A
router.
PepWave router.
Pepwave router.
It's a PepWave router. They're really
Pepwave is all the rage in the RV community.
Okay.
because you can put multiple inputs
Sources.
Right.
and it'll merge them together and give you a very robust.
So our PepWave has the eSIM or the SIM, the VSAT and Starlink all together in one router?
No.
Well, no.
It's
the
upstream of the others.
Okay.
if the Starlink does not work and it rolls over supposedly. If we have cellular signal, it'll roll over to the cell. Now,
But
this
if we're
is
out
all-
at sea,
there's no
that's
cellular.
not
There's
available.
no
Right.
cell towers out in the ocean.
So if we're out to sea, we don't have the political issues.
That's true. So
International waters.
Right.
Starlink works everywhere outside the 12-mile limits.
I was amused by one of the ship companies I was talking to about before we decided on this ship. I said something about internet connection. They said they haven't finished the cell towers across the ocean, but they're working on it.
Yeah.
I'm glad.
Smart
Okay.
ass.
No, he was serious. He didn't think I was smart enough to know the difference.
Well, when satellites have cellular, they will be your cell towers at sea.
Yes, but
Yeah, there's a lot of buts. The number one being is your cell phone has to support that specific system.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And the other thing is we're inside a giant steel ship And
Right.
so for our phones to work, we're going to have to be able to see sky without anything in the way.
Right. But I believe that we'll have the same type of system where the cell towers that would work at on shore for the shared network, the Wi-Fi that we're using, they would be able to use the cellular satellite.
Which is going to be on Starlink, at least initially.
Yes.
Right.
So if you can see the Starlink for the cellular, you can see it for the Wi-Fi, which will be better anyway. So
Right. It'll be good for us at shore, on shore.
Yeah.
Our experience with the internet on board the ship has been excellent. I mean, we are not of a business that we can't be without for a couple hours, but we do a lot on the internet. We do a lot of live streaming out to YouTube, and we've only had a couple little bitty hiccups in any of the things that we've tried to do.
And it's only crashed and burned once.
Once, yeah.
Completely just had to quit. Couldn't work.
That's
And
not bad.
No, I thought that was quite good.
Yeah. And we don't pay anything extra for our internet. You know, people on cruises,
Not for the ship internet, yeah.
right? Oh, the ship pays a ton of money
Right.
for their internet, but it's included in our monthly fees. How do you track your usage, and what do you do to minimize it?
Usage is actually built into Windows, and our computers are Windows. You can just go to settings, then networking, and then it will show up in the upper right corner what your last 30 days of usage is. And I did that before I gave a talk on saving bandwidth, and I think my previous 30 days was about 83 gigs, which was just for the computer. For my phone, I've got an app that monitors, and it's so in the background that I forgot about it for like 5 months, and I never looked at it. But it'll remind me by saying on the first of the month, okay, we're starting a new month. It's like, oh yeah, you're there.
I forgot about the computer, so I don't know what my computer's doing, but I'm not on it as much as he is. I do track my phone. Not closely, obviously, but
And about how much do you?
I don't pay close
Okay,
attention.
okay.
But, I try to minimize my use.
I looked at my phone's Wi-Fi usage yesterday, and for a month it was about 50. Now that's just my phone,
Right.
you know, and my computer I'm sure is probably about the same as yours, so
Right.
80.
And my Mac I can't track. They don't have any
Really?
tracking in the OS. There are some apps that you can load that purport to track your band, or, you know, your downloads and stuff like that, but I've not found it to be useful, so I don't have any.
But I feel if there was ever going to be a cap for business people, I think it needs to be at least 200
Per
gigabytes
person.
per person per month.
Yeah, there was a lot of talk earlier in the cruise about, you know, limiting the data that we're allowed to use to even 50 gigabytes per person, and that's not enough to do work.
Even casual.
And they want, you know, people who are digital nomads to be on board. We need internet.
Absolutely.
Period.
And that's
So-
what a lot of people were sold on that as well. They were
Absolutely. Yeah.
promised
Yeah.
unlimited.
Okay. I want to take a little break there and give you a couple more details. First of all, Randy mentioned how he gave a talk on board about saving bandwidth. And if you want to watch that, it was really interesting. You can go to residentialcruising.com/speakers, and all the speeches that have been given on board are there. His is way down at the bottom. So he mentions checking your data usage on Windows. I want to show you how you do that. It's very easy. You just go to settings, Windows settings, and network and internet, and it tells me right here that my data usage in the last 30 days was 40.8 gigabytes. Not much, really. But most of our work is done on Jim's computer, so that's there's that then. And then on the phone, data usage on a cell phone, I'm going to show you on my Android because it tracks both cellular and Wi-Fi, and it's Wi-Fi that I'm concerned with. So you go into settings, connections, and data usage. And like I say, what's really nice is it tracks mobile data from my eSIM, 64 megabytes in the last month, and then Wi-Fi data usage, 60 gigabytes. So between my phone and my computer, that means I've used about 100 gigabytes of the ship's Wi-Fi in the last month. The iPhone, I can't find any place where it tracks Wi-Fi usage, just the cellular. That's under settings and cellular, and scroll down and you'll see the usage. Okay. Did you notice the location where we were? Wasn't that a pretty view? That's a place on this ship called the Observatory. And I just want you to see a little bit more of what it looks like. We have lots of gatherings, get-togethers, music events up in this space.
There's a grand piano up there. It's very nice.
And the views
are spectacular. We like to go up there and watch our sailaways or coming into ports.
So now, back to the conversation. There's a bit more here.
Just a encapsulation then of the top things to do.
I think probably the reason you use 50 gigs on your phone is you take a lot of pictures, and you back up your pictures to at least Google Photos, if not
two or
one
three.
or two or 17 other sites. You know, for instance, Dropbox. As soon as you open Dropbox on your phone, it'll say, "You're not backing up your photos. You want to back up your photos to Dropbox?" Because they want to sell you more space. So if you turn that on, now you're uploading twice. And if you go into OneDrive, it says the same thing. You should we give you an entire terabyte. You can upload a lot of photos for that, and you can. But now you're uploading your same photos to 3 different places. And that adds up, and especially when you're doing high resolution photos, which can be 20 megabytes each.
Well, I know one resident sends her photos to 4 different platforms, just to make sure things don't get lost. And her photos are important to her.
I will say, though, that I take most of my photos when I'm off the ship, and my phone has so far always been connected to Google Fi Cellular, so a lot of the uploads are happening when I'm off the ship. So,
Okay.
I mean, I do have greater upload on my cellular than I do on my Wi-Fi on the ship.
Sure.
So you actually turn off your
So I've
your
turned
photo
off my
backup.
photo uploads, and so yeah, there's a period of time between the time I take the pictures and the time I plug my phone into my computer and download the latest batch, just over a USB cable, that they're not backed up at all. So if I lost my phone, yeah, I could lose, a day's worth of photos.
And the other thing we've learned that a lot of people use the internet just for watching movies, for streaming on Netflix, and some
Right.
of them don't realize that they're streaming at a high definition.
Yeah, so that's the other thing I covered was that if you're going to watch movies, there's no sense in watching them in 4K on a 1280p television set, or particularly if you're watching on your phone or your tablet, you don't need super high resolution because there's no perceivable difference. So yeah, set it lower, and that will help not only save the company money, but it helps your neighbors to have more bandwidth to do what they want to do.
Very important.
Well, and I've chosen to not watch streaming TVs, movies, etc. If I'm taking a class, I'll watch what's associated with the class. Otherwise, I don't. I bought a DVD player, and I can go to the library, get the movie I want to watch, and do that. So
That's something that the the shipboard, the residents have put together. There's a nice library of DVD, movies, and information, and they even have some DVD players for folks that don't have those, and they loan them out, and it's free. It's great situation.
Yeah.
So I think that'll probably help, and as more people use it, it'll be better. I tend to do a lot of YouTube videos because I'm learning software and
Sure.
things like that. But I have it set to a low resolution. I'm not watching those in HD or anything
Right.
like that. So,
And same with me. When I go to bed, I'll usually see what. Shout out to Sam, the cooking guy, because just enjoy the stuff he makes, and he's got an attitude, and he's fun to watch.
Entertaining.
And we're talking 14-minute videos, so it doesn't add up very fast. But even that I watch in pretty low resolution.
Well, I use Blue Sky as it's kind of the or the Twitter replacement or alternative, and that's where I get my most recent news. And all the videos are on autoplay, and once I realized that, I thought I should probably do something about that.
Did you find a setting to turn off autoplay?
Didn't think about that, but I don't let it just run in the background to the best of my knowledge. I mean, I've
turn it off.
Turn it off, yeah.
Okay, so we're in port now.
We are.
Usually when we're in port, we have the choice to use cellular. And we can, if the cellular is good, we can even not use the ship's Wi-Fi at all by turning the phone into a Wi-Fi hotspot. We have a video on how to do that in case you don't know. But right here, have you found it? So who is your provider? Who is your cellular provider?
We use US Mobile, which is a reseller, just like Google Fi is. And so I went to predict to the future what our coverage is going to be. So I put together a chart of what we're going to encounter. And Micronesia is the first place with a significant not covered. That's the white. The green obviously is covered. And we're in Micronesia currently, and AT&T, T-Mobile, and Verizon are all not covering here.
Not available.
Not that we expect that there to be Verizon cell towers here, but they don't have a contractual agreement with a partner here so that their customers are covered. The classic global eSIM is Airalo. Airalo doesn't cover either. So, we're pretty much out of luck unless we have Starlink, and yay, we do. But our next stop, it's white all the way across. No Starlink.
What's that?
Palau.
That's Palau.
Palau has no Starlink and no cellular.
Right. So
we're going diving.
But the ship might be able to get a local eSIM.
Yeah.
Or SIM. Those boxes actually will use a physical SIM.
Yeah.
So if they, probably somebody from the ship's officer contingent will run ashore, find a cell phone store, and say, "Can I buy a data SIM with a whole lot of data on it?"
A whole lot.
I think sometimes the port agent will do that for them.
Yeah, the port agent can do that in advance too, so that when they meet the ship, they can hand it over.
Question: wasn't it the Airalo question that had you start looking for this because you were ready to turn Airalo on and you thought,
Right. So since Airalo is kind of the classic backup, I wanted to see if I'm going to buy Airalo, when am I going to need it?
Mm-hmm.
And so the first place I would need it is Palau. I really need it there, but Airalo doesn't cover that place either. So it's like, well, I'm not going to buy one and activate it now because it has a 365-day lifespan. If you don't use up your data in that time, you lose it. So it's like, well, why buy it if I don't need it and it doesn't work where I do need it?
Yeah, these global data plans tell you it works in 150 countries. Well, guess what?
There's about 200 countries.
There's more than 150 countries, and we're going to some of them.
Yeah.
Yes, like right here.
Yeah, we have a Solus, a 5G hotspot,
Mm.
and it is supposed to be one of these global cellular.
What kind of coverage
It
do you
doesn't
get?
work everywhere either.
It does not work here. It
Oh.
says it found 2 5Gs, but it did not.
We tried it today.
I tried it just onshore today,
Yeah.
but it was not able to connect to either of them.
Man.
But when we're on shore, there are restaurants, bars,
Right.
places like that
Right.
that have
Another backup, in fact.
and some of the terminals will have Wi-Fi hotspots for free, and more you find that available. So
Right.
buy a
Even-
beer and you're good to go.
Even some tour buses will have a
Yes.
cellular system
Built in.
built into the bus, and there'll be Wi-Fi inside that bus.
Yeah.
Or even a van. I was on a tour
Yeah.
with a van.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it-
So
Wi-Fi.
you might say, well, we're really screwed when we're on Palau because we can't get anything, but we still have that VSAT.
hmm And that'll probably be the one thing that we can use unless we want to get off the ship and use a Wi-Fi.
Go find a
that's-
bar with.
And then there's the ultimate. I know that you had to do this once, and we did it when we were RVing, is we checked into a hotel.
Right.
If we needed to have the internet for a day where we don't,
Yep. So Kit and I checked into a hotel without staying overnight. Sounds kinky, but no, we were just there for the bandwidth.
There's a business line to rent parking spots and let that user
use the
have
Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Back in the States, when McDonald's was
McDonald's
one of the
parking lots.
first to have Wi-Fi,
Really?
the people would go and park in the McDonald's parking spot. Again, all of that is changing
Right,
so
yeah,
rapidly
Yeah.
that islands like this, just a couple of years ago, had, maybe their government buildings had something for satellite or
Right.
internet, but the general population did not. Now all the kids in school here have cell phones
Yeah.
and they're connecting.
And some of especially if you're at a port that has a lot of stores there, that they really want you to concentrate your activity there,
Spending.
Money.
because a Carnival cruise or whatever will come in for a few hours, and you can't really go real far, and because the ship's going to be leaving. So they have these clusters of stores. It's especially popular in the Caribbean,
Mm-hmm.
and they're more and more covering Wi-Fi in that whole store. It's not just that you can go into a store and have Wi-Fi. It's that whole cluster, that whole downtown port area will have often free Wi-Fi, so that people are happy to be there
Right.
and
Spending their money.
not having to use their horribly constrained, expensive Wi-Fi on the ship.
you mentioned how even islands like this that had nothing a few years ago now have. I talked to somebody who was on the land tour today,
Yeah.
and they saw some construction going on, and they asked, they're laying fiber optic cable.
Fabulous.
And they have undersea cables coming to these places more and more too.
Yeah.
So they'll be connected.
So they're not relying on satellite either,
Right.
which is nice.
We've always found that having cables is better than having wireless.
Well, and when we
Yeah.
were dancing away from a typhoon, the downpour was so hard that we did lose our
That's right.
Starlink connection and
Yeah.
Good
VSAT.
point. Yeah.
So
it was raining so hard.
there was no cable to the ship.
But bottom line, I think we all agree,
It's
the
pretty
internet
good.
here is pretty
Yes,
good.
It's pretty darn good. Yeah.
Unless you absolutely positively cannot be without it for, I say, one day.
Right.
You know, if you absolutely positively can't be without it for one day, then you don't belong on a ship, period.
Well,
Probably true. Yeah.
and I have heard some residents say that when we get to such and such a port, they're going to get off and just stay in a hotel, so they've got it.
So just any final thoughts on anything that we didn't
I
cover?
think you summed it up perfectly. Is that it's pretty darn good,
and it
is.
works for us.
It
quite
works for
well.
us. Yeah.
and we're all online people,
Absolutely.
so we need just to exist. We need internet.
It is truly, I can do without electricity for longer than I can do without internet.
Right.
Except they kind of kept
Because you've got batteries and you've got
right,
backup
because
batteries.
right.
Yeah, definitely.
So, I mean, electricity, air conditioning, what else? Food.
Water.
Food, water, yeah. I mean, internet has become a third
Necessity.
utility.
It's a utility, absolutely.
Yeah. It's a necessity.
All need
All
it.
right.
And we're
Well,
glad to
thanks.
have-
This is fun. We
Yeah, thanks,
will
guys.
pick another topic some other time and do
Maybe
this again.
True that.
Well,
So,
I hope you like that. The four of us have a lot of things about the ship that we can talk about. But guess what? What was a big part of that conversation was that Starlink wasn't going to work in Palau.
that's what we were told, yeah.
And where are we?
We are in Palau. We are definitely here.
And you
And-
want to? You just
yeah,
did a speed test.
I just did a speed test here. And you can see down at the bottom or in the middle there, it does say Starlink.
It says SpaceX Starlink right there.
And those are my speeds, 75 down and 25 and a half up. Those are good speeds. So yeah, we're surprised, we're happy.
Pleasantly surprised.
Right? So
Now we're not at dock. We are anchored out. So that's all I'm thinking, maybe
no, maybe.
Yeah, how
I don't
can it-
think so.
it doesn't seem like it could make that
We're
much
not
of a
that far
distinction.
offshore, that's
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah. Anyway, another thing that we talked about in that conversation that I want to show you is if you're going to be using Netflix, for example, any streaming entertainment service that you can set the playback to use a lower resolution. And look at this, I really want to point out, if you choose low, you'll be using 0.3 gigabytes per hour. If you choose high, it can be up to 7 gigabytes per hour. So this makes a huge difference in your data usage. And I just want to show you how easy. Here I am signed into my Netflix account. You click over here on the account button and it is an account setting. So I click account and then settings, edit settings, and it's a playback setting. So there is where you would choose low, and so that means anytime you're watching anything on Netflix, it will be delivering it to you over a low quality. It'll still look fine, and if not, you can go to medium. And the other thing is YouTube. If you go to YouTube, and you can do this on the phone as well if you're watching YouTube on the phone. Now on YouTube, it's when you start to watch a video, then you see this little gear wheel. You click that and it's quality. Click on quality and you have 4K, HD. We say either 720 or even 480 if it doesn't look too bad to you. You'll be really saving on your data usage.
Yeah, it depends on what you're watching.
As to whether you need it higher quality or
Right.
not. Yeah. But you definitely don't need 4K.
No, not on most TVs, and certainly not here on the ship. So, good point.
All right.
Well, did you learn something? There's a lot to learn, isn't there? So we have some icons here. For each icon, state if it's representing Wi-Fi or cellular. Number one
is cellular, just those signal strength bars.
Number two
is Wi-Fi.
Number three,
I don't know why Samsung decided to use something different. The up and down arrows is what they call mobile data, which is cellular.
and number four,
5G is cellular, even though it has the waves like Wi-Fi. 5G means cellular.
it can be confusing. And number five,
4G LTE is cellular.
Yeah. Now, those bars are a nice indicator, but they aren't an absolute guarantee that you're being connected, and it certainly doesn't necessarily mean that you're connected to the internet. So it just is a general idea of how much signal strength is out there and not so much bandwidth.
Not signal quality.
Right, certainly. But it's a good indicator. The satellite internet system on board the ship here is provided by A, Starcatcher, B, Datastorm, or C, Starlink.
C, Starlink.
When Starlink isn't available and the ship uses a local port SIM, how do the residents connect? Do they switch to cellular? They do nothing? It's the same as the Wi-Fi network? Or C, switch to in-port network?
B, nothing. We see absolutely no difference. It's just the back end that is different. So we are not connected directly to a satellite. We are connected to
a Wi-Fi hotspot that is in turn in the network connected to the satellite system.
Or to a cellular
system.
To
the cellular system, yeah. But on board, we're on Wi-Fi, usually. True or false, when streaming movies, you'll be using multiple gigabytes per hour.
False. If you check your settings and make sure you're using a lower quality, you could be as low as 0.3 gigabytes per hour.
But if you have it set to the highest quality, you could be using multiple gigabytes.
Lots.
Not a good idea. Well, thank you to all of our premium members. You make our work possible. You can become a member at Geeks On Tour. Just go to our website, geeksontour.com, and /join now. It's $68 for 1 year or $58 with a recurring membership. We have a backstage pass. It's for premium members only, and we do these regularly while we're on the other side of the world. We would normally do it right after the show, but
we're not live.
And people are asleep on the other side of the world.
So we will send out an email. Just if you're a member, watch your emails. We just had one of our Backstage Pass Zoom calls a few days ago.
Right, and it worked great.
Yeah, and we will have another one.
All right, sign up for our free newsletters at geeksontour.com/news. They're always free.
Never stop learning.
All right. Remember, click the bell, subscribe to our YouTube channel. That helps us a lot. And if you click the bell, you'll get notified when we do something special on YouTube, like upload a new video or when we go live. All right, Chris, what's the webpage that lists all of our YouTube shows?
geeksontour.com, and the menu item is YouTube shows.
And the webpage that lists all of our recent newsletters, and there's a bunch of them.
geeksontour.com, and the menu item is blogs and news.
And why do people pay nearly $60 a year to join Geeks on Tour?
We have a bunch of benefits. One of them is that we have written notes for these shows, so you don't have to watch the whole show, you get the written notes. And we have the Backstage Pass, private Zoom calls. You can ask us Q&A, and all of our content is available to our members. Some of it is for members only.
And sometimes people subscribe just to say thank you for all of the free training they get from us.
And we thank you.
All right. Become a member. That's it for this week. I'm Jim.
I'm Chris.
And we are Geeks on Tour. I think I even have some outro. Here we go. Keep on sailing. We're going diving tomorrow.
Yay!
That'll be fun.
Bubbles up.